Hello, I'm Dr. Lawrence W. Moore, and welcome to this edition of Sunday Night Synthesis, where we'll be looking at making delay in PD, pure data. In other news, the LWM rack system has got a few releases coming up, and I was supposed to get them out this past week, but it was the first week of the semester, so I was kind of busy, and I added a couple more things to them that weren't originally there. So in the next few days, I hope to get those videos up. And in fact, what we'll be seeing today is in an upcoming release of LWM Rack, so it'll be part of this modular system that I'm making. So anyway, my assistant Crafty and I now are going to show you the magic of delay in pure data. Hope you enjoy. Alrighty then, so we're going to start right in the patch this time. The reason being is I turned off the microphone's input on my screen recorder. It's just recording my output from the patch because I didn't want a dry mic signal in addition to the wet dry mix I have here in this patch. You'll see what I mean as time goes on. So anyway, what I have is here a patch showing you a simple delay. Our ADC is up here. This is our audio input from the sound card, taking input 1 from the mic, and it goes down to an amplifier here, as well as it goes to this right here, which is a delwrite tilde object. This is what sends a delay signal. I'll come back to this in just a second. But down here, this asterisk tilde and this asterisk tilde here are basically representing the output of the dry signal, the microphone without delay on it. And then here's where the delay signal comes out. And over here, I have a mechanism that controls the balance between the two. This is the wet-dry mix. The slider over here, which is a range of 0 to 1, is received right here. It has a built-in send symbol, so it receives that send right here. And then basically the numbers 0 through 1, whatever you select there, comes out. On this side, it just goes through a pack F50 object, which says take the number coming in, the float, and then send it with the number 50 to line tilde. And so it goes from number to number over 50 milliseconds with the line tilde, giving you a straight line at the audio rate in between. That helps keep artifacts from happening. Gives you smooth transitions since you're changing amplitude in an amplifier. And I have the same mechanism here, but before it, there's a swap 1 and a minus symbol. The swap 1, this object, whatever comes in the left and right inlets gets swapped in the outlets. Basically, the number from the fader comes in the left inlet, goes out the right outlet. And then the number 1, the creation argument, or whatever you send in through the right inlet, comes out the left outlet. We don't have anything, so it just sends out a 1. And basically what happens is 1, well, you subtract the number from the slider from 1, which gives you the inverse of this. Like when the number is 0.7, it'll come out as 0.7 here and 0.3 here. This is the dry side, this is the wet side, so that way it keeps them within the 0 to 1 amplitude range. And as you move it up, you're getting more and more of the wet signal, or more and more delay. And as you move it down, you get less and less and more of the dry signal. So that's what this mechanism is from its two sides. Now that I explain this, let's look at here. This is where the dry signal goes straight through, but it also goes to a delwrite object, which its first creation argument is the name, which is a symbol of the delay line that you're creating. I'm just calling it del sig. There's only one delay line in this. And then afterwards, the maximum time in milliseconds of your delay. You can vary it but this is the largest that it would be in whatever patching you set up. So I set that max at 2000 milliseconds, which is 2 seconds. And so this delwrite sends to this VD object here, and what it sends is the audio signal. And VD tilde del sig, the del sig is the same symbol as here, so it's like a wireless connection. It sends the audio here. But VD also receives through its input the actual delay time that you want, which should range between your minimum and your maximum. My maximum is 2000, and since my fader is going from 0.01 up to 1, I multiply it by 2000, so my max will be 2000, and my minimum will be 0.01 times 2000, which is 20. So from 20 milliseconds up to 2000 milliseconds is the delay time range that I'm giving myself here. And here's where it receives from this middle slider. Gets multiplied by 2000, goes through the pack F50 and line tilde to smooth it out, and it goes into VD here. So VD gets your delay time, and it knows at what time of delay you're using, so when should it put out the delayed signal that it's receiving from over here. And that delayed signal goes to 2 places, but the first place is what I showed you before, this asterisk tilde that also has a line tilde going into it. On the right side, that's basically the wet signal, and it goes out here where it gets added to the dry signal. So these are your 2 main signals, the wet and the dry. Now the VD also goes here. This is the feedback section. This is what sends the sound right back in to up here to go through again for delay to sound like echo or reverberant and everything. The instances of it cycle through multiple times, and each time it goes through it should get quieter for it to sound like a natural reverberation. And so I have a receive here from this slider at the side that controls and attenuates the level of the signal before it gets sent to this send symbol here, which gets received here and goes right back into the delay line again to go through to here. So basically this is where you can control how strong your feedback loops are and how quickly it'll attenuate down and eventually go away. Alright, and so that's the whole mechanism. But that just basically sends it back here where it comes out here and goes back out. So this wet signal is multiple layers of delayed signal because of the feedback loop. And that's what makes it sound like a more natural delay, or the way delay should be, rather than just one slapback, at a certain amount of time. Although you can make that happen by turning your feedback all the way off. Okay, so let's hear it. I'm going to turn up my wet-dry mix to 0.5. There we go. 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 That's a 1 second delay. Because this is halfway up, halfway up, maximum is 2000 milliseconds. Alright, so let me just say a few more things. I'm going to change the delay time so you could hear. Basically this amounts to being the amount of time it takes from signal to get from here to here. Now things are cycling back through, so they get delayed again. But basically, this is the space between the echoes, so to speak, that you hear. Alright, so speeding it up. The delays are coming back sooner. And now they come back slower. 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 And now they come. And now I'm going to move the feedback fader. This will be how quickly they decay out over time. Now, if you start moving it up toward the top, they may build up and layer up so much that they eventually distort, especially if you turn it all the way up. So, as I move the slider, you'll be able to hear how long these layers stay around. Okay, so let's allow them to build up a little bit more. So once that I have said before, the cycle around through the feet, 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 the cycle around. Now that I turned it all the way up, they won't disappear. Now that I turned it all the way up, now that I turned it all the way up, now that I turned it all the way up, now that I turned it stand, 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 now that I turned it stand. All right, and then they go away quicker, and then they go away quicker, and they go away quicker, and they go away quicker. Now they can go away even quicker. Now they can go away even quicker. Boom. 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 Bada boom. Bada boom. Bada boom. Bada 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 boom. Bada 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 Alright, so I made a second patch just to show you another thing. And during the time it takes me to close this patch and open the other one, you won't hear me. Okay, I'm back now. Incidentally, the reason why I have things named with $zeros is so it can be modular. I took this out of the module that I've already made for LWM rack. I actually have 1.01, 1.02, and 1.03, and now 1.04 already kind of finished with added modules. So I'm behind, I'm putting out the videos and the releases, and I've got to do that. It's been extra testing and stuff like that, coupled with the beginning of the semester, but there's some exciting things in store for LWM rack, and a modular delay will be part of it. So anyway, this is really the same patch except for one thing different. Right here, instead of the VD object, I'm using the delread object. And this, you give it the delay line name, and then a number here that it will take as a delay time. But you can also feed it numbers in here, and I use the same mechanism to do that. And so that becomes the real delay time. You notice in the last one, when I changed delay time, the VD object would speed up or slow down kind of like a tape for a few hundred milliseconds before it would reset into the new delay time. If you want to get rid of that, you can do this and use delread. But delread will put artifacts in because delread does not receive numbers at the audio rate. So the best smoothing you could do is through a regular line object without the tilde. And that smooths it a bit, but you still hear some artifact sputtering as you move it. So I changed this to be jump on click instead of steady on click. So you could just click anywhere in the slider and it goes there. It reduces the amount of artifacts that you hear, but they're still there. So anyway, here we go. Hello. Let's change the delay. Let's change. There we go. A little bit of snap. A little bit of snapping going on. Sometimes if signal can hide it. Nope, there I heard it. It really stuck out. Oh well. Back. Oh, there it's Gotta hold those artifacts right under your nose. And actually, that's why I prefer the other method with VD, because I'd much rather hear those little glitchy speed up and slow down sounds than artifacts. But anyway, Crafty wants to get in on this, so... Got too hot there. Oh my God. Oh man, people will be complaining. I'll get complaints now. Yeah, it's like, oh, you distorting. Oh, things distorting. Oh, it's a little bit too quiet. Now it's too quiet. Now why can't make your own videos if you don't like it that much. Start thinking. Alright, so that'll let you have some fun on your Sunday night. And I'll be getting these LWM rack releases out this week. I got to. It's my life, man. My life is on the line. Alright, I'll check you out next Sunday otherwise.